meeting to come to order. We'd like to welcome our guests to the Ouachita Parish School Board meeting. Come anytime that your schedule allows. Ms. Peggy, call roll, please.
Tommy Como.
Here.
Sherry May.
Here.
Scotty Wagner.
Here.
Jerry Hicks.
Here.
Harold McCoy. Absent. David Gray.
Here.
Greg Manley.
Here. Now stand please for the pledge be done by Board Member Scotty Wagner. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Verification be done by Board Member Manley.
Please pray with me. Our gracious Heavenly Father, just what an opportunity it is to come before you, Heavenly Father, in prayer before we have our school board meeting. And Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the blessings you give us each and every day. And pray that you'll just be with us and give us the wisdom and knowledge we need to make the decisions that's in our children's best interest today at the school board meeting. And we'll give you the glory and the praise for that, Heavenly Father. Most of all, we thank you for our salvation, the price Jesus paid on the cross. And all we pray in his precious holy name. Amen.
Amen. We look down the agenda. We need approval of the minutes, March the 10th, 2020, March 17th, 2020, and April 16th, 2020. Need a motion and a second.
I so move that we accept.
Second.
All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, no. Motion carries. The agenda, we need to amend the agenda to add items 5, 6, and 7 under business, and items permission to be at item number 6. So I need a motion and a second to amend the agenda.
I move that we amend the agenda as presented, adding item 5, 6, 7, permission to be at item number 6. Second.
Okay. All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Now we need a full motion to approve the full agenda.
I move to approve the full agenda as amended.
I second.
Now motion and a second. All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. First Lady.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. We have 3 positions that I'm going to ask the board to open. Today I know that Mr. Geis is ready to start the committee process on this. And so we currently have an acting or interim principal at Robinson Elementary. And so I'm asking to open the principal position at Robinson Elementary. Also, we have the assistant principal position at West Ouachita High School and the assistant principal at Riser Middle School. So those are the 3 that we are seeking to get you folks in. So I would leave that with the board.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve these 3 appointees.
I so move that we accept these 3 openings.
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, no. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks.
Yes, sir. Moving down to business, I would like to take a minute to read something here to the audience and to our spectators that's online with us. Special COVID-19 notice. This is an open meeting for the Ouachita Parish School Board in lieu of the COVID-19 emergency. The limitation of gathering of more than 10 persons and a social distance of being observed. In accordance with the proclamations 30 JBE 2020 and 41 JBE 2020, the public is encouraged to observe this meeting by teleconference at the following link: https:/bit.ly/OPSB-board-meeting-live stream. Comments regarding each agenda item may be either mailed, emailed, or communication OPSB.net. at least 1 hour prior to the meeting or typed into the chat feature available at this link during the meeting. Those comments will be addressed in the public discussion portion for each agenda item of the meeting and should include the name and contact information of the person offering the comment. Further certification is hereby given that in order to obtain a quorum, one or more members of the school board might participate in this meeting by teleconference in accordance with a former mention for information. So I just want to make, everybody aware of that. So if you have any questions, now's time to ask. Any comments from the audience? Okay, thank you. Move down to item number 1, in consideration to take action with respect to adopting a resolution confirming election date change pursuant to proclamation of the governor's establishment a new date to canvass the returns of an election and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Mr. Bransford.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I'm sorry, it's fading in a little bit in and out, but you were calling on me, correct?
Yes.
Very good. Just prior to going over the resolution that you have before you, just a little recap. In the January 14th board meeting, the board called an election in the East District for not exceeding $42 million of additional bonds for capital projects, and provided that in the propositions to be submitted to the voters, there would be no projected increase in the current tax rate that the East District property taxpayers are paying for the currently outstanding bonds. Also, the board adopted a resolution providing for the specific projects that would be funded with the $42 million of bonds and committing to undertake those projects in the event the proposition passed. The reason that we had discussed at the January board meeting, or the reasons why the school board was in a position to submit this to the voters for their consideration with no tax increase, was due to various factors. One, the board had refinanced a number of its bond issues on the east side over the years without any extension of the debt and reducing the payments by taxpayers each year over the remaining life of each of the bond issues. Secondly, there are some outstanding bonds that are being paid off on the east side, and also there was some increases in the tax base on the east side. So again, to reiterate, no projected increase in the current tax rate being paid by the taxpayers to pay the currently outstanding bonds, so the additional bonds would be without a tax increase or a rate increase. Now, the resolution that you have before you is to accomplish two things. One is to recognize the postponed election date of August 15th, pursuant to the governor's proclamation. And number two, to provide for a new date to canvass the returns of the election. And that new date in the resolution is Tuesday, September 8th at 12 noon. If any questions, be happy to answer them.
Grant, I'm assuming, this is Greg, I'm assuming that the stay-at-home order extended by Governor Edwards yesterday will not negatively impact this new date set for the election date of August the 15th. Have we heard anything on that, or do we anticipate any change as a result of this extended stay?
We're not anticipating any changes. We have not heard anything from the State Bond Commission or the Treasurer or the Governor. There are a number of other elections that have been postponed to the August 15th date. They are still on course. None of the deadlines were extended, and all the elections are currently scheduled across the state.
Okay, thank you.
And Greg, just to, I'm hoping that they were anticipating this when they set them as far out as what they've set them. So that's what we're hoping for now.
Any more questions for Grant? Any questions from the audience? Thank you. I don't know, what do we need to have a motion and a second? We can do it like in a second. We need a motion and a second to approve this resolution on the minutes.
I move that we approve the resolution presented by Grant and confirming an election day change to August the 15th on the election and discuss as a result of the proclamation of the governor.
Okay.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Peggy, we call roll, please. Roll call vote.
Tommy. Scotty Wagner,
Yes.
Jerry Hicks,
Yes.
David Gray,
Yes.
Greg Manley.
Yes. Motion carried. All right, moving now to item number 2. Approve a resolution confirming an election date change to the governor's proclamation. Mr. Fluter.
Grant, this is back to you, and this is the resolution itself. Do we need to read this for the minutes?
No, sir, you've covered that in item number 1, so you are fine. You're ready for the election on August 15th. There's no further action that the board needs to take.
Very good. Thank you, Grant. All right, moving down to item number 3, discussion and final approval of the sale of the old Ouachita Parish School Board Central Office Complex, Media Center and Information Technology Building to the Ouachita Parish Police Jury for the total of amount of $1,198,000. Mr. Elmanoa.
The TIC members of the board, we are scheduled to close on the sale of the old central office complex this Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock at the attorney's office. To accomplish the ends of the closing, we have 2 resolutions before you today. The first one that's in your folder is to finalize the agreement with the police jury. The police jury took action a month or so ago to approve the completion of the sale, and this resolution before you lists the 3 properties, the 100 Broad Street address, which is the old central office address, the 701 St. John Street, which is the media center, 800 Jackson Street is the technology center, and then the authority is to sell those properties for the amount of $1,198,000, and also to authorize Mr. Hicks as president of the board to execute all the documents on behalf of the board. Now, the second resolution that you'll vote on in just a minute is a specific resolution of authority to, again, grant Mr. Hicks the authority to appear on behalf of the board. But this resolution that's being presented now is to finalize the transaction, and that is the board will be accepting the police jury's offer of $1,198,000 for those 3 properties.
And that resolution reads as follows. Whereas the Ouachita Parish School Board, hereby known as School Board, is charged with the operation of public schools located within the geographic boundaries of Ouachita Parish, Louisiana, excluding the city of Monroe, and whereas the school board has determined that the following described property, which it currently owns, is no longer needed for school or administrative purposes. One is 100 Bryce Street, which houses the central office and contains 20,082 square feet in a two-story building located on a 63,750 square foot site. Two, 701 St. John Street, which houses the media center and contains 13,616 square feet in a single-story building located on a 24,750 square foot site. And three, 800 Jackson Street, which houses the technology center and contains 10,930 square feet in a single-story building located on a 28,710 square foot site, including all buildings and, that was a tough one, appendices thereunto belonging hereafter the property. Whereas the school board has determined that it would be in the best interest of the taxpayers of Ouachita Parish in Louisiana that the property remain in the public domain, and whereas the Ouachita Parish Police Jury desires to purchase the property from the school board and use the property for public purposes. Now therefore be it resolved by the Ouachita Parish School Board at its regular board meeting held on the 28th day of April 2020 that, number one, the Ouachita Parish School Board hereby agrees to sell to the Ouachita Parish Police Jury the herein above described property for the amount of $1,198,000 upon such terms and conditions found to be satisfactory by Superintendent of Schools. And number two, the Ouachita Parish School Board hereby directs and authorizes its president, Mr. Jerry Hicks, to execute the necessary documents to sell, transfer, and convey ownership of the above described property to the Ouachita Parish Police Jury.
Dr. Mr. Hicks, if I could just add the numbers containing 1, 2, and 3, the square footages, those are obtained directly from the appraisal that was conducted by Mr. Wilkes on behalf of the school board. So that's where all those numbers and square footages came from, just for your information.
Thanks. So, Mr. Hicks, there's the resolution. Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve this resolution. I move we approve the resolution as presented. Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience? Okay, thank you, Dr. Coker. Moving down to item number 5, financial report.
I'm sorry.
You need to vote. Well, what? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Vote no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Move down to item number 5, financial report for February the 29th, 2020. Ms. Makers?
No, we skipped one.
Okay.
We've got the second resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Adoption of a resolution authorizing Board President Jerry Hicks to appear and execute on behalf of the Ouachita Parish School Board for all documents necessary to finalize the sale of the old Ouachita Parish School Board Central Office Complex, Media Center, and Information Technology Building to the Ouachita Parish Police Jury. Mr. Elmanoa.
Thank you, Ms. Chief, Dr. Coker and the board. Again, this is the second resolution. The statute that pertains to school boards authorizes the president of the board to appear on behalf of the board to execute deeds and other documents regarding immovable property. We've been requested, the board's been requested to execute this resolution to specifically authorize Mr. Hicks to appear on behalf of the board. This will be part of the closing package, and if necessary, this can be filed in the public records just to point out and clarify that Mr. Hicks is the duly authorized representative as president of the school board to execute this transaction with the police jury. So we don't need to read this resolution unless Dr. Coker would like to, but basically it just authorizes Mr. Hicks to do whatever's in it. Most of you have attended real estate transactions before, and other than the deed, there'll probably be several documents in the closing package that Mr. Hicks will need to sign, so that will encompass all the documents that are part of the package. So it's just a formality.
We have a motion and a second to authorize me to finalize this, sale of the school board office.
So moved.
All right,
Second.
got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience?
Government Joint Meeting whereas, and therefore be resolved on this resolution as it was in Missouri. I like the whereas.
Get paid by the word.
Whereas, and therefore be resolved. That's official.
It's official.
Any more discussion from the board? All in favor, yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving down to item number 5, financial report for February the 29th, 2020, Ms. Meekles.
Good afternoon. You have before you the financial reports for the month ending February 29th of 2020. You'll see in the first column, the current ending fund balance for the general fund is $41.9 million.
I don't think we can. Should she get on the microphone more, would that help? Or is she using the mic?
I can hear her. I can't tell.
I
can hear her? Yes. Yeah, I sit right by. My wife said the same thing. That's right. Carry on.
Sorry, Regina. Speak a little louder, cause.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
That is better.
If you'll look in the general fund column, the ending fund balance for the month of February of 2020 is $41.9 million. That is right on target with the prior year-to-date fund balance for that same time period, as well as the District 1 M&O. In the second column, we end the period with $17.6 million in fund balance, which is also right on target from the prior year fund balance at that time. The previous agenda item and the sale of the police jury, sale of the prior central office to the police jury, we would look at the West Ouachita sales tax. Those funds will go back into the sales tax to offset the cost of the new central office renovations. So if you'll look at the last column on the first page, it's currently showing a deficiency for the year of $3.9 million. Well, whenever we add that sale of the buildings into it, we'll actually end up with a $2.7 million deficit for the year, which is on target with the budget for that fund as well. We've been looking a lot at the sales tax collections for the current period. And I know there's a lot of concern with the sales tax collections coming in for the current period. We have the 13th check coming up, and I just wanted to mention that we have collected 10 of the 12 months. So while we are working on projections over the next 2 months, the majority of that tax has been collected. We have sales taxes that deal with salaries that we distribute out exactly what's brought in. We have the M&O taxes and the West Ouachita sales tax. So I just wanted to confirm with you that we will continue to watch those revenues closely. We will continue to watch those expenditures closely. We'll be very conservative from here through this whole situation until we can project our tax revenues to return to normal. We really don't know what this time holds for tax revenues. So I just wanted to let you all know that we are watching that situation very carefully and looking at the budget very carefully from now to the beginning of the year. I think it will actually have more of an effect on the upcoming year's budget, given that we were majority of the way through this current fiscal year. So did anybody have any questions on that?
we have any more questions from Ms. Makers? We got a motion and a second to approve the financial report, February 28th, 2020.
She gonna have any more discussions on it?
I have to have a motion and a second before we discuss it.
What's she gonna present? Regina, did you have any more presentation on the budget that you wanna, probably not unless you have a question about some of the different columns there? She can answer or address whatever question you might have on, because I think I know where you're probably
Well,
going.
she usually goes through the whole,
Yeah.
but she only goes to the first page, that's what I was asking about. I mean, she might be through, which is fine. That's okay. Did you
You
hear
have more questions, Ms. Makers? You have any more?
That's all I had.
That's all?
Regina, what is I know that we have some dedicated projects that's for the remaining monies on the east side for that bond. Do we have any idea of where we are on, because I know Shady Grove, we were going to do something in the kitchen. Do we know where we are on that fund?
I believe on the east side bonds, once we complete the kitchen at Shady Grove, those bond monies will be primarily spent. That was the last remaining project.
Go down, or close to the dawn, is that what you're saying? So the next meeting, we have a budget for it, should reflect our current.
That's correct.
That is something I'm going to get to.
I figured that was, yeah. Any of the other debt service funds that any of you are interested in asking a question about, you certainly can look at that and do that now. I'm going to tell you, we are very blessed at Ouachita Parish to be able to have a fund balance, especially in times like we're looking at right now. As Regina has mentioned, we're going to be really watching the M&O, which is a sales tax derived proceeds that we've got to be very cognizant as to, how we're going to be spending that money and things like that. We don't know how long the pandemic is going to last. Certainly our hearts go out to all those that are not, deriving a paycheck right now. And so we are certainly going to be watching very closely. Regina and I have been meeting along with Bobby and some of the others to make sure that we're going to stay in as good a financial standing as we possibly can.
Any more discussion? Motion, all in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes. No? Motion carries. We're now to item number 6. I'm sorry.
Did we have a motion? No, we got interrupted in the process, I think.
All right, that's right. Okay, so I so move that we approve the financial report for February 29th.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? I got off track on this one, I'm sorry. This ain't it's not the second time we've done this, so I'm learning. But, any more discussion? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Item number 6, consider right-of-way agreement with Energy on the Sterling High School site at Panther Road. Mr. Manley?
Well, Dr. Coker and I and Ken Swerson went out and met with Energy this past week and really had a chance to put some eyes on what their request was. And basically, they're trying to put some new poles, beside Panther Drive, not on our property. It's about 2 foot on the property of the landowner adjacent to our property. And looking at it, we didn't feel like there was any safety concerns presented by the request, and it didn't take away from the appearance of our school property. So we felt comfortable in bringing it back before the board for another vote and approving that. So unless there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer. I would make a motion that we approve the right-of-way agreement with Energy concerning putting up new electrical poles along the Sterling High School site in Panther Road.
Motion and a second. Motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience?
And while the audience is weighing in, let me just kind of say that one of our big concerns initially on this was the safety they approached us, and they wanted to put it on the school side. That would have come down the entire school side into the parking lot, and our biggest concern was kids driving into those parking lots and out of the parking lots and having that other, obstruction there with a light pole and things like that. So, certainly appreciate Energy and, their work in going to the other landowner and having these installed over there, because from what we're hearing, that is an area that they, during the summers, that, they may have some brownouts and things like that because of the amount of energy that is being used. And so they are in desperate need of being able to put this new line up and running all of that to that. And we appreciate Energy working with us, and we're glad to help them out in this process.
Definitely supply additional power for that area, which is very needed with the growth going on in that area. But also, Dr. Coker mentioned that if they could put the light poles up, or we agree for them to put the light poles up on our property, it would be right there at the edge of the practice football field too, which would be an increased safety hazard for the football practice section.
Any more discussion?
Yes.
Motion carried. So approval. Planning to approve this discussion. Can you hear this here?
Mr. Monroe, can you, we see him on the screen, but we're not hearing anything. There he is. Ken, we're ready.
I think we can hear it.
Mr. Hicks, board members, you should have in your folder a letter from Lazenby. As you see, it states that we opened sealed bids on April the 22nd for the drainage improvements at Woodlong Elementary. I recommend a low bid of Bench Construction for $124,440.
A motion and a second to accept this bid by Bench Construction.
I move we accept the low bid presented by Bench Construction for the drainage project at Woodlawn Elementary.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience?
And again, we're waiting on the audience to respond. This would be West Side sales tax monies that would be used to, fund this project. It's a project that we've been looking at for years and years and years. And if there's a school in Ouachita Parish that our kids have not been able to get out on the playground nearly as much, it would be Woodlawn Elementary. So we're excited about some of the dirt work and the drainage and being able to get their, playground area to where they can actually play on it, you know, after a rain down the road. So, Ken, do you have any audience participation?
Very good.
All right, thank you. Okay, all in favor, yes?
I got a question. You asked Bench Construction, he knows who Bench Construction is.
Good question. Yeah. Ken, you know who Bench Construction is? Is that any Ken Bench Elmore?
Yes, they do several, jobs, several big jobs around the state and in the parish. They're in, you know, just as good as Amethyst or RDO, and they'll do
The owner of the company. Do you know who the owner is?
No, I don't.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor, yes?
From Bassman Associates, and they're real.
Dr.
Yes.
Coker, Dr. Coker, Miss Bobby, I believe that they are the same, I believe they're the company that put in the walking track over at, Riverbend.
Okay. Okay.
I'm assuming Benson Elmore used to be a paving contractor, because I'm assuming Bench is a part owner of this, owns this company, have you shown Benson Elmore? Any questions?
Yeah, but I think all them done that. We don't know, that's right.
Yeah,
There is a Benz Construction, just for your information, that the, Convention and Visitors Bureau just used to do their signage project. You're seeing all the new signs pop up around the parish. And it was a large project, and I believe it was Benz Construction that did that too, I believe.
Okay. All in favor, yes?
Yeah,
Yes. Opposed, no? Motion carries.
More questions from the board members for me?
I'm sorry, Ken, what'd you say?
I think any more questions?
No. No more questions, Ken, we're good.
Thank you.
Moving down to evaluation of bids, item number 1. Bid number 45-20, wood chips, out of the general fund, $20 a yard.
Mr. Hicks,
Take it, go ahead, Bob.
can you hear me okay? Okay, this is for the wood chips for the playgrounds. This bid actually is going to open next week. And I would like the board to go ahead and give me permission to approve the bid and get the chips ordered, so we can start getting them, to the schools.
Okay. Do we have a motion and a second?
I move that we approve permission to bid on the wood chips through a general fund. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience?
Ken, certainly you'll let us know, but we've already advertised this out to our principals, through our Zoom meetings on multiple times, and they had a deadline to let Bobby know when they needed their chips, or if they needed chips, the wood chips for their playgrounds. And so, this is kind of a yearly process that we do in order for them to be able to get them in, and they'll bring them in by the dump load. It's our responsibility to move it into the, underneath the playground equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm glad we got the process down, streamlined it, Dr. Coble, with the principals, so there's no shut down a playground during the school year because we don't have the proper amount of wood chips.
Right.
We talked about that in the past, and I'm sure that won't happen. You won't ever forget that. What funds do these come?
M&O.
Okay. Any more questions? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes. So, no? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks, thank you, board.
Are you gonna take permission to bids? You wanna take them all?
Yes, sir, if we can.
Okay, items 1 through 6. Any
Yes,
motion?
the first item on there, the chiller motor for Ouachita Parish High School, that came as a recommendation from Stephen Hemphill, to have them in, and also, service the chiller itself. The next item, are band uniforms for Westmore High School. That, it is their turn this year for band uniforms. Next item, oil and grease. That is for, school buses, change oil, and other items that are on there as well. The fourth item is ag science materials. That's for our, ag science folks consumables. The next item is, our online marketplace. We've had a big influx of orders that are being requested to be processed online. This will give me a legal remedy by which to do that. And then the last item is the chiller at Sterlington High School. This just came up. Stephen went and checked the chiller. It was not storm related, but it's starting to leak oil and I believe Freon as well. So Stephen recommended that we go ahead and replace that chiller.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. We have a motion second for permission on items 1 through 6. So moved. Second. Motion and second. Any discussion from the audience?
And I certainly don't want to take the audience's ability to participate, so Ken, if you get the chance, you'll let us know. But I don't want to wait a minute and a half to tell you a little bit more about this. The chiller for Sterlington High School, and Stephen, I think, is in the commons area if we need to ask him anything, is actually going to be, permission to bid right now, but it's not going to be affecting this year's budget. It'll actually be going into the 2021 year budget, okay, out of the M&O. That 125, I think it's 125 ton chiller. It's a big one, and there's Stephen right now. Correct me if I'm telling them anything wrong, Stephen, but this does not include the installation and the work that would actually go with that, and that's probably going to be closer to around $20,000 for the installation, working, and all that. Stephen, anything you want to add to that?
That sounds correct.
We're pretty sure there wasn't any formulated damage to the chiller.
We checked it out every way we could check it out. It didn't fall under that.
Just don't miss the devil.
Well, again.
Oh, the band uniform, Dr. Coker, we rotate the schools every year on those. Right?
That's correct. Yes, it was West Monroe's time to rotate in. Okay, I guess I would have a question for the online marketplace, and that's throughout the entire district. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct. That'll encompass all funds, general fund, Title I, student support, everybody.
Does that include anything that schools might buy at the school site also, or is that
Yes,
strictly
sir.
district?
If they're using vendors like Amazon, Walmart.com, it will take care of them as well.
And I can say that I was talking with Regina yesterday and with Sharon also, and Amazon actually, I mean, you pay taxes on Amazon purchases, so those purchases that are out there, we are getting tax dollars back into the district from those particular online sales. Okay.
By the Ouachita High School, we changed chiller motors 12 years ago. I don't know how long it lasts.
Stephen, can you come back on?
What was the question?
When I was at Ouachita High School, we changed out those chiller motors. I think 12 years ago. How long did they last?
Actually, those chillers were 20 years old. They were put in. It's a 450 ton chiller, which roughly is probably $450,000 to replace it. This is going to be a rebuild, which is the electrical motor inside the chiller is what's messed up, but you got to break the whole chiller down to replace it. So we're going to just get a total rebuilt chiller is what we're going to have. And we got a 5-year warranty with that. So we should be good to go. So, I mean, $80,000 to rebuild it versus $450,000 to buy a new one right now I would recommend us rebuilding it, reworking it, and getting another 10.
We had to take the end wall out of that school, take that.
Right.
What we replaced then? We had to take all the big chillers out, with a crane.
Yeah.
What we replaced then?
That was the chillers 20 years ago. We cut holes in the bricks, and now there's big vents in the wall. If you had to replace them, you could take those vents out and, put new chillers in there. But we did that 20 years ago. And we have them serviced every year. Now, we spend anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000 a year getting them serviced every year through train. So it's not that they're being neglected. It's just the wear and tear on electrical motor when you have power surge in the neighborhood, power going off, those electric motors inside, just the wear and tear, they can't hold up forever.
Any more discussion? Bob is still there?
He is. Bob, is this online marketplace solely for your use, or is this something that the individual schools will be accessing as well?
But the individual schools can use them as well, Mr. Como.
Okay.
Did you hear me?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, you're welcome.
Any more discussion? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Oh, no. Motion carries.
Thank
Board,
you, Mr. Hicks, thank you, board.
I'm sorry, Bobby, go ahead. Go
So
ahead,
thank you,
Bobby.
Mr. Hicks, thank you, school board. I just said thank you.
Okay. Next board meeting, May 12 o'clock. Have a motion to adjourn.